Good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Hello.
can.
Okay. So just a quick hello.
That's lovely. Okay,
So
I'm now just going to ask you if you could mute yourself for the main bulk of this. We'll be opening it up at the end. It's going to be a really short little workshop because this is just about the skeletons in your cupboard. Um, just a quick recap on the week. I've spoken in my content during the week about the skeletons in the cupboard. I'm not sure if this is an international phrase, but it's certainly something we say in the UK. And weirdly, I wasn't even aware what the skeletons in our cupboards were until I started doing coaching training. Yeah, because we tend to push these little skeletons away and we keep them shut in the cupboard. And it's one of these things that doesn't even cross our minds until they jump out of the cupboard and start speaking for us. Yeah. I talk to my clients about this along the lines of questions like, have you ever been in an argument and something comes out of your mouth and you think to yourself, where the did that come from? Yeah. It's almost like your mouth starts speaking for you. That part of you that is not being listened to starts to shout and you can't turn it off. When I was in the world of work, working in corporate England, working for British Telecom, um, my most frequent skeleton that used to jump out of my cupboard would have angry tears. Um, and it always happened when I would do like a whole pile of something really difficult, produced a really difficult report, or presented some indicators or directors to the management, because that was, what I was about. That was what my job was. And quite often, that information, the results of that report or the indicators that I gave them were being ignored or brushed aside. And I would find that frustrating, so frustrating. And my brain would be saying things like, how dare they ignore me? I've been working on this for the last 2 weeks. How dare they? Why didn't they listen? And then it would turn into, hang on, am I stupid? Have I missed the mark? Have I not provided them with what they needed? Are they going to sack me? How am I going to find another job? Yeah, that great big loop that as a people pleaser, it was so easy for me to drop into. But when I started doing the coaching certification, one of the biggest things that I learned was parts work. It has a lot of different names all around the world, but to me, it's known as parts work. Um, and it is without doubt the single most important piece of understanding that I have ever learned to understand myself. And more to the point, it made instant sense. It was like a whole row of light bulbs. Yeah, got that, got that, got that, got that, got that. Yeah. It wasn't easy to do the work, but it was by far the greatest lesson. And now I teach it in my program at sort of a not a 30,000 feet view, but more like a sort of, 1,000 feet view um in the program. And then if people need to go deeper with it or want to go deeper with it with me as a coach, that's when I'll go in deeper one-to-one or in the group calls. But what parts work is okay, simplify, simplify, simplify. Think of a triangle. Yeah. This is the way I was taught it. Yeah. It's um a parts triad. Three things. And the way it goes is, and just bear with me with this, because the first time you hear it, it's going to sound a bit weird, right? When you are at a point in your life where an emotional need is not met, when you can't understand why that need is not being met, most likely because you are either emotionally very immature or in terms of years on the planet, very immature, like a child. In fact, let's use a child as an example. So at that point in your childhood where an emotional need is not being met, a part is formed. Yeah? And that's part as in noun rather than part, the verb part of. Yeah. But it's a frozen part of you that is frozen in time and kind of encapsulated and set aside from you as a child because you don't know how to handle that unmet need. And if that unmet need is repeatedly unmet by your caregivers, what gradually happens is the formation of a protector. And the protector is what we jokingly refer to as the skeleton in the cupboard. The protector is the voice that jumps in front of you and says, right, I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to protect you from that need not being met, or I'm going to defend you from the pain of that need not being met. Now, while that settles in, I'll give you a quick example. And I'm never sure that the details of this are completely correct, even though it's from my memory, because it's from the memory of a part, not my memory. You'll understand in a minute. I remember being a child, a little child, kind of 5, 6, might have been a little bit older, maybe 7 or 8, you know, that kind of age range. And I remember coming home from school with something that I was really proud of. I have this vague recollection that it might have been something like a piece of artwork that I did, or something, or a piece of art that I did in a medium that was new to me, like maybe an oil painting or sticking bits of pasta to a piece of paper or something and then painting it. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I remember coming home, running into the house, showing my mum this thing, which actually puts me a little bit older because I would have come home on my own. But then we did when we were younger, didn't we? Came running into the house and I was trying to show my mum this piece of art. And at that particular moment, she was busy. And again, I can't remember clearly what she was busy with. All I remember was she was in the kitchen. So it could have been preparing dinner. It could have been bathing and changing my little sister. It could have been a multitude of things. But she was too busy to look at my piece of art in that moment. Now, my mum was a good mum, yeah, even looking back, with all of the shortfalls that we all have as parents, my mum was a good mum. And I'm pretty sure that at some point later in the day, she would have looked at that piece of art and we would have talked about it and whatnot. But in that moment, my need, my emotional need to be recognized and to be valued and to be seen by her was not met. So this break off part of me was formed that held that pain so that I could carry on with being a child that day and every other day, right up until I was working at British Telecom, where I'd worked really hard on something difficult and was not getting the recognition. So the protector that was formed way back when I was a kid, yeah, used to jump in front of me and either yell or shout or be over emotional, or quite often, like I said, there was this angry tears because I would get so frustrated and so angry that my work was not being recognized that either a behavior like slamming a door or storming off or shouting or just trying to talk with tears running down my face would happen. And it wasn't until I learned about parts work, it wasn't until I learned that these protectors are formed to protect me from that emotional pain that I began to understand that one of my protectors is a 7-foot tall Viking warrior princess, complete with sword and shield, who would jump in front of me and yell and kick off any time little me, Tanya, was feeling like she wasn't being recognized or seen or appreciated or valued. And this protector part came out so often that I even got a job off the back of this protector turning up. Because whenever I had to say, no, you will not treat me that way, it became recognized at BT that I was really good at saying no. And I got a job which involved managing budget, where the ability to stick up for myself when I wasn't being listened to, the ability to stick to a set of rules and say no to people, was recognized as a really huge, valued skill. Yeah. And I got a job managing that. I did this job for several years. And in the final year that I did that job, my budget was £6.4 million. Lot of money. Lots and lots of money. But it wasn't until much more recently when I realized how often this Viking warrior princess protector turns up. How often my other protectors turn up. And I've intentionally turned the light on in my sitting room today because in my mind, I still have all of those protectors. I keep them with me. They're my dear friends, and they all sit on the sofa here. And when one of them is needed, yeah, that protector will get up, charge through here, and mentally I'll go, it's all right. I've got this. Yeah. You can go sit down now. It's okay. I've got this. Thanks for sticking up for me. Thanks for noticing that I needed a bit of help right then. But I've got this. And this has taken years of understanding my own individual parts triads. Yeah. Understanding all of the points in my life where an emotional need was not being met. When my mind or my spirit or my soul, not quite sure what, but separated that part from me so that I could continue to go on. And allowed the protector to be formed so that that didn't happen to me again. Oh, that was just a message from somebody saying that they couldn't make it to today's call. That's fine. So to go sort of, quickly top to bottom again, right? Where the beep did that come from? It's come from a protector that has been formed in a moment where an emotional need was not being met, right? And when you understand that, the opportunity that is then presented to you is a moment of understanding of what's going on right now, right? It's a recurrence of something that's happened before, and you're reacting to it in the same way that you have done in the past, because the protector has been formed by your mind to prevent you from being hurt in that way. Yeah. When you understand this triad, not only have you got an understanding of what's happening today, yeah, where that voice came from, but it can support your wholeness going forward. So a protector can tell you what it is you have to do work on, yeah, where you have an opportunity for healing, yeah, if you choose to. And I see, again, that, if you choose to, was not going to be something that I was going to say in this workshop, but it got said because at some point in the last week or so, I'm not going to set a date to it because you'll know why, I had a particular client talk to me, and no matter what suggestion I made, no matter what tool we came up with, no matter what strategy we began to put together for this woman to heal, she didn't want to. It was too hard. It's too difficult. Don't want to do it. Yeah. Avoidance, resistance. Some people are ready to lean into resistance. Other people are just not ready. So if you are ready to discover where your voices come from, yeah, if you are ready to greet that protector, give that protector a rest, a holiday, a vacation, a seat on the bench, yeah, that gives you the opportunity to meet that unmet need from your own grown-up, fully evolved adult self. And if you're ready to do that, then parts work is for you. You can do that parts work with somebody else, or you can do that parts work with me, or you can go get a book on parts work, or you can watch a load of videos on parts work. But parts work is what you need to discover what that voice is protecting you from, how to meet that need in a productive and healthy way, and how to bring that part that's been separated from you back into your wholeness. That's why my business is called Integrated Human. That one lesson, yeah, that one bit of learning from my coaching certification, this one here, has been such a big influence that it's literally part of my business name. Yeah. Tanya Swarbrick, trauma-informed somatic coach, Integrated Human UK. So if you've got any questions and you can pop them in the chat, that would be great. If you have any questions and you're watching this on the replay, please drop them down below wherever you see this, whether it's on or in the group or whether it's on YouTube. This will get edited and tidied up and popped on YouTube. But for now, this is the end of the sort of teaching part of this workshop. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pause the recording. Actually, no, what I'll do is I will stop this recording. Oh, hang on.